It's okay?
Yeah, fine with me.
I will start with a short introduction and then give the floor to you. Hi, everybody in the webinar. For those who do not know me, I'm Harold van Heeringen. I'm the current president of NESMA. NESMA, just to give you a brief introduction, if you don't know NESMA yet, I have prepared here a couple of slides, only two, don't worry, not too much. NESMA is an organization that has a functional size measurement standard. It's called the NESMA standard. It's kind of equivalent to IFPUG. You get comparable results, but it's just a bit different. And NESMA does a bit more than just provide that standard. We try to connect the communities that use function points that are out there in the world when it comes to specific topics like benchmarking, like estimation, like performance measurement, contracting, all kinds of things that you can do once you have an objective standard for functional size. We will try to bring this type of content like we do today to our audience, to the people that are interested in these topics. Connect people, bring a platform where you can exchange ideas. And today we are going to talk about estimation maturity, and I would like to give the floor to Esteban.
Thank you. Let me, I think we need to stop sharing. So I'm going to start sharing my screen.
Sure.
And 1 second, please, just to put this in presentation mode. And share the screen. Okay. Can you please let me know if the screen is visible now?
Yes, it is visible. Thank you. Yeah, great.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you, Harold, first of all, for giving me the opportunity to present at this venue. It's a pleasure to present for NESMA. My name is Esteban Sanchez. I'm a senior cost estimation and software measurement expert at Galorath. And I'm also the chairperson of the Functional Sizing Standards Committee from IFPUG. And again, it is my pleasure to be here with all of you today to discuss the topic of estimation maturity. I'll be happy to answer questions at the end. So you can type in your questions in the Q&A section. There is like a little question mark down there where you can type in your questions, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. And if we don't have time to answer all the questions, then I'll send written responses to Harold so that he can distribute the answers with all of you. This is a short agenda of the topics that I have for today. I'm going to try to keep it concise. I'm going to be talking, first of all, about the definition of estimation maturity, and then why, like basically explain why we should care about estimation maturity. So why estimation maturity is important for an organization. Number 3, the framework. This is an example of a cost estimation maturity framework. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we are doing this at Galorath, how we're helping customers to assess and improve their estimation maturity. And finally, I'm going to share with you a success story of a large federal organization in the United States who has adopted the estimation maturity framework and has improved their estimation practices. Okay, so let's start with a definition. Every time I talk about a certain topic, I always like to start with providing a definition. My definition of estimation maturity is what you're seeing on this slide. Okay, it is an indication of the degree to which an organization has adopted industry best practices to continuously improve its estimation process through consistent measurement and analysis. And I like to highlight 3 important terms in this definition. The first term is best practices, okay? The second one is continuous improvement. And the third one is measurement and analysis, okay? So let's take a look at those key terms because I think it's very important to explain these terms so that we can understand the whole concept of estimation maturity. Industry best practices is the best concept, okay? Industry best practices basically refers to things that have provided good results at other organizations. So these are things like practices, techniques, tools, methodologies that have delivered good results. So I'm talking about things like different sizing techniques, okay, like function points, use cases, and things like that. Tracking and control mechanisms, things like earned value management, okay? The concept of estimation life cycle, different types of estimation processes, working with confidence levels and probabilistic distributions, risk assessment, collection of historical data. This is one of the most popular and most important things in cost estimation. Measurement analysis and benchmarking. These are just examples of some of the best practices that we can identify. Some of these best practices come from other organizations. So some of these best practices are things that other companies, other organizations have put in practice, and they have shared that knowledge. Some others are academic, okay? Things that have been born in universities or research institutes, and some of them come from literature, okay? Experts in the field of cost estimation that have written different books and different articles about this. So these best practices can come from different sources. The second concept that I like to emphasize is the concept of continuous improvement, okay? As the term implies, continuous improvement means that you keep your estimation process you keep them under a continuous improvement cycle. That means you're constantly checking for things that can be improved. You're constantly identifying preventive, corrective actions and making changes to your estimation process to keep it optimized, okay? So you do some planning and define some estimation process. Then you put in practice, you start executing those estimation process. And then once you've done some estimates or once you have completed some projects, you go ahead and check the results. You check, for example, check the adequacy of your processes. You check the accuracy of your estimates. You check the efficiency, different things. And then you take action based on what you discover here. So if there are things that didn't go as planned, you go ahead and make corrective actions and then start all over again. Okay, so every project and every estimate is an opportunity to improve. Okay, so this is the concept of continuous improvement. It is very, very important to understand the concept of estimation maturity, because estimation maturity is trying to move towards this continuous improvement cycle of your cost estimation processes. The third concept is measurement and analysis. Okay, to improve something, you have to be able to measure that something, okay? Imagine if we were athletes and we were marathon runners or triathlon runners or something like that. If we want to be more competitive and be better, we have to be able to measure ourselves. Measure, for example, how much minutes or how many hours it's taking us to do a marathon or a triathlon, okay? The only way to improve something is to measure it, because if you cannot measure a certain process or a certain artifact, then it's going to be likely impossible that you can say if that process or if that artifact is getting better. Okay, so measurement and analysis is an important concept as well in establishing continuous improvement and a better estimation maturity. Okay, so those are the three concepts. Again, industry best practices, continuous improvement, and measurement and analysis. Okay, so why is this important? Okay, so Esteban, we understand the concepts, we understand the definition of estimation maturity, but why should we care about this? Like, where is the value in this estimation maturity? So estimation maturity brings some advantages. Estimation maturity is synonymous with adoption of industry best practices, as I introduced in my previous slides. That means we're going to start using best practices that have been proven to be beneficial, best practices that have brought good results to others. So if it has brought good results to other organizations, then chances are that it may also bring good results to us. Okay, estimation maturity is also involves formal sizing techniques and estimation methods. Okay, so we're going from informal Excel spreadsheets or informal, estimating in a piece of paper or just expert judgment. We're going from those informal methods into formal methodologies for sizing and estimation. Things like function points, parametric models, and historical data collection. Okay, and most important, we are going to establish consistent and scalable processes. Okay, processes that are repeatable and processes that are consistent across the organization. It has been observed that organizations that are mature in cost estimation, they are capable of delivering more reliable cost estimates and then estimates that are justifiable and defendable because they are substantiated by industry data. Okay, and those estimates are refined using historical data. So basically, the summary is that estimation maturity is important because it will help us do better estimates. Okay, and better estimates means that our projects will be under more control. Our projects will have a reliable baseline, a reliable cost schedule baseline. So it will eventually reflect in more successful projects and an increased project success rate. So those are the reasons why estimation maturity is important. Okay, so now that we have talked about the definition and the importance of estimation maturity, I'm going to show you how we are doing this in my organization, Galorath. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the Galorath cost estimation maturity framework, which is it has brought very good results to many of our customers. Okay, 1 second, please. All right, so let's talk about the Galorath cost estimation maturity framework. This is the framework. So the framework is basically a scale from 1 to 5. Okay, so we use this framework, we use this scale to measure the level of maturity in an organization. Okay, I'm going to be talking about each of these levels in particular, but level 1, for example, is an organization that has no processes at all. Okay, it's an organization that maybe is not even doing estimates. Maybe it's just executing projects without any control, without any estimates. Level 2 is, I call it introduction to formal. Okay, a level 2 organization is an organization that starts introducing formal sizing techniques, maybe function points or lines of code or use cases or story points, whatever it is, but they start to formally adopt a sizing technique and maybe combining that sizing technique with some rustic or rudimentary cost estimation relationships. Okay. Level 3 organizations have a standard process. Okay, so level 3 organizations have adopted sizing techniques, but more important, they have defined formal processes. Okay, so a combination of formal sizing and parametric estimation starts to deliver good results at these organizations. Level 4 organizations are organizations that start closing the loop, okay, feedback loop at the end of the projects. So these level 5 organizations are organizations that not only have adopted formal processes and formal sizing, but they're also collecting, for example, lessons learned and project actuals at the end of the project. All right, so they start to refine the process. And then finally, level 5, which is the top of the scale, are organizations that are doing all of these things. In addition, they are connecting the estimation with the strategy of the business. Okay, so they're doing estimates, following mature processes and mature sizing techniques, but more important, they're using those estimates to deliver value to the organization by providing, for example, estimates to make strategic decisions and bring benefits to the organization. Okay, So this is the summary of the estimation maturity model. An organization doesn't have to be specifically at level 1 or level 2. Sometimes we rate organizations that are at, for example, 1.5 or 1.7. Okay, so they can be anywhere in this range. And what we do is we identify where they are at the beginning of the assessment. We run the maturity assessment, and we identify the current status, and then we set objectives and work with that organization to take them to a higher level of cost estimation maturity. So let's take a deeper look at these levels of estimation maturity. So let's start with level 1. Okay, level 1 is, again, an organization that maybe they're not even doing estimates, and if they are doing estimates, they're doing those estimates using ad hoc or informal processes. Okay, so key characteristics of level 1: there are no estimation processes at all, or if there are some estimation processes, those are informal and those are not executed consistently. Okay, so estimation is performed in an inconsistent manner. Most of these organizations use homegrown spreadsheets or methods to do estimates, and these methods are difficult to repeat because they require a lot of manual intervention. So it's inconsistent and hardly repeatable. Okay, so in summary, level 1, primitive estimation or no estimation at all. Estimation is done manually without a process, and most of the times the tools are ad hoc, usually spreadsheets. Okay, guessing is the most widely used estimation method for level 1 organizations. What's the problem with level 1 organizations? Well, if we have informal estimates that are not defendable, or wild guesses, then that results in things like poor implementations. Okay, because we have a bad estimate, then we end up sacrificing the quality of the project to meet the estimated cost or the estimated duration. Okay, and because we sacrifice the quality and we did a poor implementation, that results in customer dissatisfaction. Okay, so our customers are going to be disappointed because we are not delivering the product, the scope, or the quality, or we are delivering over budget or beyond the schedule. Okay, we don't have a credible baseline to monitor and execute our projects, and because the estimates are incorrect, okay, it's very likely that the project will overrun the budget or the duration. Okay, these level 1 organizations suffer a lot from cancel, failed projects, resulting in significant economical loss for the organization. Examples of estimation techniques or estimation, I call them estimation tribes. So examples of these estimation tribes at level 1 organizations are what I call napkins or hero-driven estimators. For example, an expert in SAP systems just takes a napkin and he draws some diagrams and makes some numbers, and that's the estimate. Okay, so napkin estimates. Gut feelings. Okay, I think this is going to take about 1,000 hours to implement. What's your rationale? I don't know. It's just my gut feeling that it's going to take in that order of 1,000 hours. So gut feelings, or homegrown spreadsheets. Okay, sometimes these napkins and these gut feelings, they are implemented in spreadsheets, and the organization has a spreadsheet that is the magic spreadsheet that has the formulas and has the numbers to do the estimate. The issue with these spreadsheets is that they require a lot of manual inputs, and the results are sometimes not repeatable, and sometimes only the person who created the spreadsheet knows how to use it. Okay, and if that person leaves the organization, or if that person gets promoted to vice president or CEO, whatever, then no one knows how to use the spreadsheet because he was the only one who knew the formulas and the tricks behind the spreadsheet. Okay, so notice a lot of inconsistency, a lot of challenges with level 1 organizations. Okay, let's talk about level 2. Okay, level 2 is introduction to formal, and the key characteristic for level 2 organizations is we're doing the first steps in adopting formal sizing techniques. Okay, an organization that is kind of awakening the curiosity to see what are function points or what are use cases, or what other sizing mechanisms can we use. These organizations that start adopting formal sizing techniques, they also start to identify simple cost estimation relationships, okay, CERs, things like hours per function points or defects per function point, okay? So they start experimenting with very rudimentary parametric estimation and cost estimation relationships. But still, the processes are informal and not disseminated across the organization or not institutionalized, okay? In summary, level 2 organizations, they are starting to introduce formal sizing, but sometimes this formal sizing is not applied consistently. For example, if they're doing function points, they don't have certified function point counters. So some people have read the function point manuals and they have an idea of how to do it, but some others, they have not been trained in function points, so maybe they're using them or they're using them incorrectly and inconsistently, okay? Simple cost estimation relationship, basic measurement, and again, informal processes. Level 2 organizations starts to introduce the concept of size, okay? And there are many sizing techniques out there. Lines of code, function points, story points, use cases, snap, okay? An organization should choose an estimation or a sizing technique that makes sense for the type of projects and for the type of technologies that they will be executing, okay? Lines of code have been used for decades, okay? Since I became an estimator, and even before, since the 80s and 90s, organizations have been using lines of code to measure the size of software. However, there are some challenges with lines of code. For example, in today's technology, we have code generators, we have low-code development platforms and things like that, where the lines of code becomes irrelevant, okay? So lines of code are not very suitable for things like code generation, commercial off-the-shelf integration, or software that is developed in a graphical way, like model-based development, or things like that, okay? And the most important challenge with lines of code is when you're estimating new development, okay? If you are doing changes on existing software, then, okay, the software exists and you have access to the source code and you can measure the lines of code. But if you're estimating for new development, then you cannot count lines of code because the source code doesn't exist. And there are other sizing techniques that are very useful, such as function points, use cases, snap, and you can continue to add more to the list. Okay, so the organization that is adopting any of these sizing techniques needs to think about the technologies and the scenarios and the types of projects so that they adopt the best sizing technique. Okay, let's talk about level 3. Okay, level 3 organizations, the key characteristic of a level 3 organization in estimation maturity is formalize and standardize processes. And this means consistency and repeatability, okay? So level 3 organizations, again, they are adopting sizing techniques, they are adopting processes, but more important, they are documenting the processes. They are formalizing the processes, meaning that they train the users. They do awareness and training campaigns to make sure that people are trained and they're using the processes consistently. All right. So level 3 organizations have a good adoption of formal software sizing and parametric estimation, which is very important to improve your estimates. So in summary, level 3 organizations, they have adopted formal sizing approaches, whether it is function points or something else, but they have adopted that. They make good use of robust parametric estimation tools. These Level 3 organizations, they may start doing some basic collection of actuals at the end of the project. Okay, so they may start looking at collecting actuals and comparing those actuals with the estimates, and maybe doing some basic measurement and analysis. Okay, however, these two things are probably not well adopted or not well defined in level 3 organizations. Okay, these are more representative of a level 4 organization, which we're going to be seeing in a minute. So in essence, or in summary, level 3 organizations have formal and standardized processes. Okay, this is an example of what I mean with formal and standardized process. Level 3 organizations, they do an investment in defining processes, and sometimes these estimation processes are represented as workflows or business process diagrams like this. Okay, this is a process that describes an interaction between an estimator and an estimate reviewer. So they level 3 organizations, they document their processes and again, business process modeling notation, BPMN, is one of the most popular techniques to document estimation processes. So a level 3 organization has defined something like this, and they have trained the estimators and the stakeholders on the different activities and the different tasks and the different types of information that are required. Level 3 organizations also start measuring. Okay, they start to, as I said, collect actuals and start comparing estimates against actuals. So they start to do trending and correlations of estimates versus actuals. They start using benchmark data, like for example, ISBSG. Level 3 organizations may start like using ISBSG data or any industry source of data to start benchmarking and comparing their productivity and improving by doing measurement and analysis. Level 3 organizations also understand the concept of estimation life cycle. Okay, what is estimation life cycle? In simple terms, estimation life cycle means that estimate is a continuous process through the life cycle of a project. So you don't estimate just once at the beginning. Okay, you have to estimate throughout the project. Okay, you may do estimates at the initial feasibility phase, during the concept phase, once you have detailed requirements, once you have design, and at the end of the project, again, you have to also do an estimate based on actuals. All right, so this estimation level 3 organizations, they understand the concept of estimation touch points, which are basically like as you go from concept, requirements, design, and I apologize because some of these boxes here are not readable, but this is business planning, requirements, design, development, testing, and integration. So there are different estimation touch points, or estimation is repeated and refined across the life cycle of a project. Okay, and this looks very waterfall, but this works also in Agile. Okay, the concept of estimation life cycle is also applicable to Agile projects. Okay, so you may develop estimates during the backlog planning. You may develop estimates before each release, or some organizations do it at the beginning of the sprint. Okay, they estimate velocity and they estimate the number of story points or user stories that can be developed in a sprint. So let's now transition to level 4. Okay, level 4 organizations, the key characteristic in a level 4 organization is we are doing lessons learned and data collection. So again, these are organizations that are closing the feedback loop and bringing information and data into the estimation process to fine-tune and improve. Okay, the estimation processes and tools are defined through the organization, and they do a rigorous measurement and analysis. So a level 4 organization is doing all the things that I've been showing you before, like the formal sizing, the measurement and analysis, parametric estimation, and all that. But in addition to that, the key characteristic of a level 4 organization is this, okay? They're capturing lessons learned and data and using that information to refine the process, okay? Lessons learned reviews are important, okay? It is important, like every project is an opportunity to learn and improve, okay? So it is important that you capture lessons learned, that you document, for example, what things work well and what other things didn't work so well. What can we do better the next time? Okay, where can we enhance? How can we be better for the next estimate? Okay, it's important to document all the interactions of the estimation team, interactions with stakeholders, and again, any issues and any risks that that were present in the project. It is important that these lessons learned are captured as early as possible, okay? So ideally, right after you finish the project, okay, the estimation team, maybe the next day or the next week, they should start collecting these lessons learned and data. Because if you wait too much, then people will forget, like, what things happen, what lessons learned are there, what went well, what went wrong. So it's better to do these lessons learned as soon as possible after the project is completed. And again, level 4 organizations are doing rigorous measurement and analysis. That's the key. That's how they close that feedback loop. They collect lessons learned and they also collect data. Okay, lessons learned are useful to improve the process. Okay, but data, for example, actuals are important to fine-tune your estimation tool, calibrate your estimation, your cost estimation relationships, or your cost estimation tools. Okay. Again, data is important because data allows us to do benchmarking and comparisons. Okay. So if I start collecting data, I can start to compare my estimates against similar industry organizations or my own historical data. So I'm able to understand the size of applications. I'm able to answer questions like, how much am I spending in development and maintenance? How good is my productivity? Am I being cost efficient? What about quality? Is the quality of my projects in the ballpark of industry data? Okay, and there are organizations, probably the most popular is ISPAC, that can provide data to help organizations do benchmarking. And finally, we made it to level 5. Okay, level 5 is the top notch. Okay, these are the most mature organizations that are doing all of these best practices. So a level 5 organization has the formal sizing, the estimation, the measurement and analysis, the lessons learned and data. They train the users. Okay, they do campaigns, training and awareness campaigns to make sure that the processes are understood and disseminated across the organizations. Okay, but on top of that, they connect the estimation with the strategy of the business. Okay, so level 5 organizations are bringing value to the business by providing good and reliable estimates. So estimates, a lot of the times, estimates are used to make strategic decisions. Okay, and sometimes those estimates are not just for development. Okay, to make a strategic decision, for example, an organization needs to understand the concept of total cost of ownership, or TCO. Total cost of ownership means what are the total costs associated with this IT system or with this software. Not only how much it's gonna take to develop. Okay, I'm gonna have to develop it, and once I have developed it and I put it in production, I'm gonna have to maintain. So I want to know the maintenance cost. I want to know the operations cost. I want to know the ongoing support. I want to know if that application, if I'm gonna have to do administration, monitoring, backup and recovery, refresh and upgrades. I want to understand the labor cost associated with that IT system and also the material cost. Okay, is there any licensing, any renewals, any virtual machines that I need to? So total cost of ownership is a holistic concept that encompasses all the costs associated with an IT solution. Okay, and this is needed to make informed strategic decisions. In level 5 organizations, they do this. Okay, they understand this concept, and they do total cost of ownerships. Okay, total cost of ownership can be used to calculate return of investment. Okay, so level 5 organizations, they calculate return of investment, and they only execute projects if they're going to bring a tangible benefit to the organization. Okay, so they quantify the benefits. Okay, what are the savings? What is the additional revenue? What are the, how sales are going to be increased? Basically, what are the benefits that the IT solution is going to bring to the organization? What is the cost of that? So you need to understand how much it's going to cost to deploy this thing, total cost of ownership, and then what's the benefit, and then determine if the benefit is more than the cost. Okay, if the benefit is more than the cost, then it makes sense to execute the project. If the long-term benefit, if the ROI, return of investment, is more than 1, that means that the long-term value of this actually covers the expenses. Okay, so those kind of strategic decisions are made by level 5 organizations. Again, we're talking about return of investment, value, business strategy, and decision making. Okay, that concludes the estimation maturity framework. So we went over the 5 levels. Okay, level 1, which is no estimation process at all. Level 2, which is introduction to formal sizing. Level 3, which is standardized processes. Level 4 is the key characteristic of level 4 was data collection and lessons learned. And then finally, level 5 organizations are business strategy. Okay, organizations that are connecting estimates with the strategy of the business. Okay, the last thing that I'd like to share with you before we conclude is a success story. Okay, how we have applied this at an organization and what value it has brought to that organization. So I have anonymized the organization, okay, but it's a large federal institution in the United States, in the DC area. Okay, so this company contacted Galorath in 2022 with a desire to improve their estimation processes. And the reason why they wanted to improve their estimation processes is because they were audited by the General Accountability Office, GAO. This is an entity in the United States that they audit, they review, and they monitor how other federal institutions are using the budget. Okay, and they got a lot of findings, a lot of negative feedback, a lot of negative findings from GAO that they wanted to fix. So they called Galorath, and we went and ran the estimation maturity assessment. Okay, so the estimation maturity assessment is basically a questionnaire that covers many different areas of estimation maturity. And using this questionnaire, we can obtain the estimation maturity level. So by providing answers to this questionnaire, we can tell where an organization is. Okay, and this organization, the estimation maturity level that we calculated was 1.28. Okay, so they were between the no processes at all and the introduction to formal. So they were very, very weak in a lot of areas. They needed help, for example, with sizing, software sizing, baseline estimates, risk analysis, estimate reviews. So a lot of these areas of cost estimation were very deficient at this organization. So, and this organization wanted to at least achieve level 3. They didn't want to go all the way up to level 5 because, first of all, it was just too much. Okay, going from 1.2, where this organization was, all the way up to level 5 is just too much to digest in one plate, in one shot. So we never go all the way up to level 5. Okay, we usually go to level 3, and we do an implementation to try to bring this organization to level 3. And then once this has been absorbed, maybe we wait 1 year or a couple of years, and maybe we can do a second iteration and try to achieve level 5 maturity. So we were targeting for level 3, and this is a summary of the process that we followed for this organization. As I said, we started by running the estimation maturity assessment. Okay, once we did the estimation maturity assessment, we defined objectives and goals. Okay, we said, okay, this is where we are. This is how much we are. These are our pain points. This is how bad we are in these things. What are our objectives and goals? So what can we do, or what do we want to do? Okay, and then we calculated the gap. Okay, what do we need to get there? Okay, what do we need to meet these objectives and goals? All right, and we developed an implementation plan. Okay, taking an organization from level 1 to level 3 estimation maturity is a project. Okay, so it's a project with that requires resources, it requires budget, it requires a schedule. So we developed a project plan. Okay, a project plan to basically to define the activities and the resources and everything that was needed to achieve these goals. We executed the plan. Okay, so we implemented all of these best practices and procedures and everything, and we captured data. Okay, we capture data. Right now we are in the process of testing the processes, training the people, the cost estimators, the software developers, the project management office. So we're in the process of doing that and collecting data to verify that we met these objectives and goals. Okay, when you get to this point, you need to go back and say, okay, we wanted to do this and this and this and that. Did we really achieve that? Okay, so you have to measure and collect data to make sure that you achieve the objectives. Okay, this is where we are at the moment. We're executing the plan. As I said, we did a process improvement plan that identifies the gaps and the activities and all that. Okay, at this organization, one of the most important things that we recommended was the implementation of a cost estimation center of excellence, CCOE, which is a centralized group of people that specialize in cost estimation. So they have a centralized repository of knowledge. They define standards. They manage historical data. So it's similar to a PMO. A cost estimation center of excellence is similar to a project management office, but it's centralized in cost estimation. So one of the key recommendations was to establish a cost estimation center of excellence and define business processes. Okay, this is just an example of one of their business processes. So we did a lot of this. We did a lot of process definition for this organization. And well, that concludes my presentation. Okay, that's all I wanted to show you today. I hope this information is valuable to you, and I'll be more than happy to answer. I don't know if we have any questions. 1 second, please.
Thank you, Esteban. That was really interesting. I like maturity models a lot. I've made my own maturity models myself. For instance, about agile team control, also based on the same kind of characteristics that you showed.
Yeah.
So it's a great presentation. Thank you for that. And okay,
thank you, Harold.
We ran a bit late. That's a bit unfortunate, but yeah, it was so interesting. I just decided to let you talk. Let's see if we have any Q&A. Not a question, just a remark. Thank you for the clear presentation. Well, fully agree with that. So if there are no other questions, I guess we can finish here. Thank you so much. Everyone also who has joined and who has viewed our presentation. Thank you very much, Esteban, for taking the time to help us out, NESMA, to provide content to our members and to our attendees. So great. Thanks for now, and have a great day, everybody.
No, it's been a pleasure, Harold. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you to all the attendees. Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.